clean reclaim shot, we're going to need a few things to do it proper. You're going to need some buckets. 5-gallon buckets work really good. A couple tubs. I buy litter pans because they're the cheapest. We're going to want some graphite powder. You can get it at hardware stores. You can get it at craft stores, mail order, over the internet's the cheapest. I got a 5-pound container of it for under $30. We're going to need 3 sieves. The first one is just a standard flour sieve, and instead of using plastic, I always try to get metal because they hold up better with the weight of the lead. The second sieve is going to be a .066 inch sieve. Underneath the US standard, it's a number 12. What this is for is this is going to pass any shot that is smaller than a number 9. And the last sieve we're going to need is a little bit bigger sieve, a .11 inch sieve, or US standard number 7. And what this is going to be for is it's going to pass everything smaller than a number 6. So what our goal is to get rid of any shot that is bigger than 7 and smaller than 9, so that we have 3 sizes, 7, 8, and 9. You can always shoot 3 sizes of shot. That's why a lot of ranges, they request that you only shoot 7 through 9. Makes it easier in the reclaim process. I also mix all of my shot, new or reclaimed. I'll mix 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, and 7.5, and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our shot that we've gotten off the range, and we're just going to look at a small quantity right now. But it's going to have different size shot, it's going to have rocks, it's going to have all sorts of stuff in there, dirt. So when we run it through our .11 sieve, we're going to get rid of anything that is smaller than a number 6. So as you see off the range, we got some number 6, probably some 4, maybe even some 2 mixed in there along with rocks. So that helps us get rid of some of the bulk stuff initially. Now once we've passed that through, we're going to be looking at everything smaller than a number 6. So that's where our .066 sieve comes in. Now we're going to get rid of anything that's smaller than a number 9. So in essence, now we're going to be left with shot, rocks, and debris that are the size between 7 and 9. Now once we get to this point, we're going to want to take a magnet. You can get any kind of magnet, and just work it through all of our number 7 through 9. And what we're doing is we're getting rid of any steel shot, plus any pieces of iron or steel that might be in here that we don't want it to work its way into our final clean shot, because we don't want that going down the barrel. We don't want the steel shot in there just because it's going to mix in with the lead, and it's going to change the weight of our loads, and we wouldn't know that. So once we've run it through and we've gotten rid of any steel shot or pieces of steel or iron or so forth, now we've got shot that we're ready to start the full cleaning process on. Now of course I just did a small quantity here. Actually right now in all of these buckets I have about 2 tons of reclaim, Each bucket holds approximately 300 pounds. But once we get to this point, we're going to turn to a cement mixer. They're best because they can handle the weight. You can get them at Harbor Freight for anywhere between 125 and on up. And what we're going to do is we're initially going to take our shot that we've sieved through and we've gotten to the point that it's ready to tumble. And we're going to put about 100 pounds in here. And the reason for that is we want to use that weight to break up any rocks. And we also want the tumbling process to start to clean the shot, physically clean it, but also knock loose any dirt that's built up into the pores of the shot. Because when we run it through the final step, where we graphite it, we want as much graphite as possible to stick to the lead. Most of the new shot you get has very little graphite on it, but you'll see when we're done that we're going to have a lot more graphite on the shot, and I'll show you why that's important later. Well, we're going to tumble 100 pounds for about 2 hours. You can get a little timer from Home Depot that you can push button 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. And that's nice to add into your mixer so that you're not running it all day if you forget about it. Now, after we've tumbled it for 2 hours, breaking up any rocks and breaking stuff loose, we're next going to take a mixture of sand and glass bead, or you can just use sand, or you can just use glass bead. It's your preference. But what we're going to do is we're going to put this in and let the abrasiveness of it work over the shot to smooth it down and help take off any rough edges that there might be. You'll also notice it will kind of polish the shot as you go. Now when you buy your sand and your glass bead, what you're going to want to do is the first time before you use it, you're going to want to take and run it through your flour sieve. That way you get rid of any large pieces that you don't want to end up mixing in with the final shot. Now each time you use it and you recover it, you're going to want to re-sieve it and get rid of any of the old rocks and pieces that are of debris that are left behind, so that you don't keep working that in with the shot. So after we've tumbled it for 2 hours, we're going to mix in approximately 10 pounds of sand and glass bead, and then we're going to tumble that for about another 2 hours to polish it and smooth it and clean it up some. Now, after we've run that for 2 hours, we're going to take our .066 sieve, which will process anything smaller than a number 9, and we're going to start sieving out all of our sand glass bead mixture, but we're also going to be getting rid of pieces of rock that have broken up small enough to pass through. Now, at this point, you can do one of two things. You can use a rolling table to roll the shot down and collect all of the rock that doesn't roll down, and all of the odd shaped or flat pieces of lead shot, which is a nice way to go, but it's very time consuming. The other way you can do it, if you're not worried about everything being perfect, is you can just do it while you're working it through the sieve here. You can find pieces of flat shot and get rid of those. You can also easily see any odd-shaped shot. You'll be able to see any rocks and so forth and easily get rid of those. Now, one thing you're going to notice a lot of is you're going to see a lot of shot that's stuck together. What I've found is when the shot goes through the barrel with the pressure and the heat and the forcing cones, a lot of times you'll have pieces of shot that fuse together when they come out. Now, if you notice, I just pulled two of them out. There's two pieces fused together, and then there's three pieces fused together. Now, I'll typically just leave the two in there, and I'll pull out three or more. I've seen as many as four in a nice perfect straight row. I'll get rid of three and above just because I'm starting to look at that and thinking it can cause a little bit more congestion than I might want in the barrel. But you can choose to get rid of the two if you so choose. But we can take this time, if you don't want to roll it, and just go through and find the odd-shaped ones or any pieces of rock that didn't break up and remove those. You'll see that the odd-shaped, the flat pieces and the doubles just kind of seem to gravitate towards the top. So we can get rid of those fairly easily. And just work it back and forth until you're pretty comfortable that you've gotten rid of everything that you don't want in there. And then you can set this shot aside, whether you tumble it down the rolling table or you just work it this way. Once you're done, you'll set it aside for the final step, which will be to graphite it. And then it'll be ready to shoot. But you can see at this point that it's already some pretty good looking shot at this stage. Now, I will mention that a lot of people, they'll skip this step here of tumbling it and stuff to clean it, and they'll just wash it. Well, there's two things that come about when you wash it. Number one, wet lead takes a long time to dry. In fact, people will put it into the oven to try to speed up the drying process. The second thing that happens is the pores of the lead will fill up with calcium in the hard water deposits. Now, that's what we want to fill up with graphite. So if we wash it, we're going to make the lead where it is not as conducive to holding the graphite when we tumble it with the graphite. So washing it is going to take longer, and it's also going to lessen the effects of the graphite when we're done. And when you see this stuff tumbled in graphite, you're going to see what I mean. So I choose to do it this way. Just tumble it, clean it with the sand and glass bead. And versus rolling, I'll just work the shot. And then it's clean and ready to graphite. Once we've cleaned our shot and we've gotten it ready to go to the final step, we're going to take it and we're going to put it in our cement mixer. And we're going to put in approximately 50 to 100 pounds. Now, once we've loaded up our shot, we're then going to take some graphite, and you only need about a teaspoon or so per 10 pounds. So you can load it up. You can put some extra in because we're going to sieve out what we don't use. and we're going to save that and reuse it again. So putting in excess is not going to hurt at all. The one thing we don't want to do is put in too little and not get a good graphite coat. Once we've done this, we're going to run it for between 1 and 2 hours to let the graphite really embed into the pores of the lead. Now, after we finish tumbling our shot with our graphite, we're going to put our pan down here to collect, as we did with the sand. We're going to take it, and we're going to take our flour sieve, and again, this is why I like the metal, is the weight. And we're just going to lightly sieve off any excess graphite. We'll collect it on our pan, and we can reuse the graphite again. And then we're going to come to our finished product. Pretty good looking shot. Now, we started with this off the range, and we ended up with this nice, clean, heavily graphited lead shot. Now, in comparison, to show you how much graphite we have on it, here is some new shot. You'll see that it's nice and clean from being processed and polished, but it does not have a lot of heavy graphite on it. And I personally like a lot of graphite on my shot to help it with the firing process, especially when you're going in with loads that are a little bit heavier than what the barrel is considered pure. And what I mean by pure is, let's take a 16 gauge barrel. A 16 gauge barrel is pure at 1 ounce. That means we can take 1 ounce of shot and pour it down the barrel, and there won't be any restriction because of the amount of shot trying to go through the barrel. But if we go with 1 1/8 or 1 1/2 ounces, it's not going to be pure then. We're going to have a little bit of restriction as the shot kind of builds up and congests in the barrel. So when we fire a load bigger than a pure, because of the 2 forcing cones in the barrel, we're going to have more congestion. And that's going to slow down a little bit of our shot. If you look at a shot string coming out of a barrel between a pure and a not pure load, you'll see a longer string on that not pure load. Well, the graphite's going to just help it a little bit better, make it through that barrel with less effect of any congestion. It also helps when you're loading a bigger load, like a 1 1/8 ounce or 1 1/2, that sometimes your shot will get stuck in the barrel or the tube loading the shell. The extra graphite helps eliminate that. Well, I hope this video has helped you to understand how you can take old shot off the range and clean it and reuse it. It's as effective as new shot, if not better in some ways. I've been shooting reclaimed for over 25 years, along with always mixing 3 sizes of my shot, and have always seen better performance than shooting a single size, and the reclaimed has always just performed as good as new in every aspect. You'll need a cement mixer. You can get one from Harbor Freight from anywhere from 125 up. You're going to need 3 sieves. You're going to need a .11 sieve, and I recommend using metal versus plastic. It's US standard number 7. You're going to need a .066 sieve, or a US standard number 12, and a standard flour sieve. You're also going to need some graphite powder. You can get it at a hardware store. Typically you pay a little more. You can get them online. I got this 5 pounds for about $25 online. An optional item is a rolling table. Simply a piece of wood. I have mine formica on top with a small lip all the way around, tapered down to a flute that goes down to your to a 5-gallon bucket.